The desert is a place of beauty and desolation, its endless sands hiding secrets older than time. But for some, it's a graveyard of nightmares, where the unseen watches and waits. Tonight, I'm sharing 3 very scary, true desert horror stories, each a real encounter that will grip you from the first grain of sand and leave you dreading the open expanse. This is 3 very scary, true desert horror stories. I stumbled across these stories while researching for my channel, digging through obscure forums, news archives, and first-hand accounts from those who survived the desert's wrath. The vastness of the desert, its dunes, its canyons, its unrelenting sun, can feel like another world, one where the rules of reality bend. These 3 tales, rooted in documented events, aren't campfire myths. They're the kind of horrors that make you rethink venturing beyond the city lights. From the deserts of Nevada to Arizona and New Mexico, these stories reveal a truth. Sometimes, the emptiness isn't empty at all. Our first story takes us to the Mojave Desert, Nevada in 2014, where 32-year-old photographer Jenna Harper was on a solo shoot. Jenna was a free spirit, chasing the perfect sunrise for her portfolio, often camping alone in remote areas. She'd heard the Mojave's rumors, UFO sightings, ghost towns, strange lights, but dismissed them as tourist bait. On a scorching July weekend, she drove her Jeep to a spot near Area 51, a barren stretch of sand and scrub 100 miles from the nearest town. She set up camp, her camera ready for dawn, the desert silent except for the crackle of her small fire. As night fell, the stars blazed, but the air felt heavy, like a storm was brewing, though the sky was clear. Around 2 a.m., Jenna woke to a sound, a low hum, like machinery, vibrating through the ground. She sat up, her sleeping bag damp with sweat, scanning the dark. The hum grew louder, joined by a rhythmic scraping, like something dragging across the sand. Her flashlight beam caught nothing but cacti and rocks, but the noise circled her camp, closer each leap. Jenna's heart pounded. She grabbed her camera, snapping photos blindly, hoping to scare whatever it was. The flash lit up the desert, and in one frame, she saw it. A figure, tall and thin, its limbs too long, standing just beyond her tent. Its face was featureless, a blur of shadow, but its eyes glinted like polished stone. She screamed, dropping the camera, and the figure vanished. The hum stopped, the scraping faded, but Jenna didn't sleep. At dawn, she checked her photos. The figure was there, clear in one shot, its form unnatural, almost translucent. She packed up, speeding to a gas station where she showed the clerk, an old man who nodded grimly. "You saw the Watcher," he said, a local legend of a desert spirit that stalks trespassers. Jenna reported it to a ranger, who found no tracks near her camp, though her tent was slashed, as if by claws. She shared her story on a photography blog, the photo going viral, debated as a hoax or proof of something otherworldly. Jenna never returned to the Mojave, haunted by those glinting eyes, the hum that still echoes in her nightmares. Our second story unfolds in the Sonoran Desert, Arizona, in 2018, where 29-year-old hiker Carlos Rivera faced a terror he couldn't outrun. Carlos was an experienced outdoorsman, leading group treks for a Tucson adventure company. On a November evening, he took a solo hike in Saguaro National Park to test a new trail, planning a 3-hour loop. The desert was cool, the cacti casting long shadows as the sun dipped low. He carried a backpack with water, a map, and a headlamp, his phone useless with no signal. The trail was familiar, marked by stones, and Carlos felt at ease, whistling as he walked, the horizon glowing red. An hour in, he noticed the air change, thicker, tinged with a metallic smell, like blood. His whistle died as he heard footsteps, faint but deliberate, crunching behind him. He stopped, turning, expecting a coyote or another hiker. But the trail was empty, the desert still. The footsteps continued, closer, now joined by a whisper, raspy and unintelligible, like words carried on the wind. Carlos's skin prickled. He called out, "Who's there?" The whispers stopped, but the footsteps didn't, circling him now, invisible in the dusk. He broke into a jog, his headlamp flickering, the beam catching flashes of something. Eyes, low to the ground, glinting red, darting between the saguaros. Carlos sprinted, the whispers growing into a hiss, the footsteps pounding in sync with his own. He felt a tug on his backpack, sharp, like claws tearing the strap. He didn't look back, racing toward a ranger station 2 miles away. The hiss became a scream, guttural and raw, echoing through the canyon. As he reached the station, the sound stopped, the air clearing, his headlamp steady again. The ranger, a woman named Eleanor, found him gasping, his backpack shredded, deep gashes in the fabric. A search found no animals, no tracks, though Elena mentioned stories of a desert demon, a shape-shifting entity tied to ancient Tohono O'odham lore. Carlos quit guiding, sharing his story in a Tucson paper, swearing something hunted him that night, something that wasn't human. Our final story brings us to the Chihuahuan Desert, New Mexico, in 2022, where 25-year-old grad student Aisha Khan encountered a horror that defied explanation. Aisha was studying geology at New Mexico State, often camping in the desert to collect rock samples. On a March weekend, she drove to White Sands National Park, a surreal landscape of gypsum dunes, to study erosion patterns. She pitched her tent near the Alkali Flat Trail, planning to work at night when the dunes were cooler. The desert was quiet, the moonlight casting eerie shadows, her lantern glowing as she sorted samples. She felt at home, the vastness soothing. Until midnight, when the temperature dropped sharply, her breath visible despite the spring warmth. Aisha heard a sound, a wail, high and mournful, like a woman crying, coming from the dunes. She grabbed her flashlight, thinking it was a lost hiker, and shouted, "Hello?" The wail stopped, replaced by silence, but her lantern flickered, then died. She relit it, her hands shaking, when she saw footprints in the sand, circling her tent, though she'd heard no one approach. The prints were barefoot, too large, with claw-like marks at the toes. Aisha's stomach churned. She packed her gear, ready to hike back to her car, but the wail returned, closer. Now a chorus of voices, overlapping, anguished. Her flashlight beam caught a figure on a distant dune, gaunt, draped in tattered cloth, its head tilted at an unnatural angle, moving toward her with jerky, spider-like steps. She ran, the sand slowing her, the voices growing louder, chanting in a language she didn't know. Her tent collapsed behind her, as if crushed, though nothing touched it. The figure appeared again, closer, its face a hollow mask, eyes burning white. Aisha tripped, scrambling up, her flashlight lost, the moonlight her only guide. The chanting became a scream, vibrating in her chest as she reached her car, locking the doors. The figure stood at the edge of the lot, motionless, watching as she sped away. Park rangers, alerted by her call, found her tent in shreds, the footprints gone, erased by wind. Aisha shared her story on a university podcast, linking it to La Llorona, a weeping spirit from Mexican folklore, though locals whispered of older, nameless entities haunting White Sands. Aisha never camped again, tormented by the figure's white eyes, the wail that follows her dreams. These are 3 very scary, true desert horror stories, proof that the desert's beauty hides a darkness that watches, waits, and hunts. I've read Jenna's blog, Carlos's article, Aisha's podcast, each word heavy with fear. The Mojave, Sonoran, and Chihuahuan deserts are real, their terrors etched into the sand. So, where do you wander? What's out there in the emptiness? Stay on the path, because this nightmare is real.